For our next venue, we travel to Northeast Oregon, where we find the Eagle Cap Excursion Train. The railroad is based here in Elgin. Elgin is nestled in Indian Valley, around 20 miles north of La Grande, with the Blue Mountains to the west and the Wallowa Mountains to the east. Owned and operated by the Wallowa Union Railroad, the train runs over a portion of the 63-mile Joseph Branch Line, which follows the scenic course of the Grand Ronde and Wallowa Rivers as they make their journeys through the Wallowa Mountains. These mountains are often referred to as Oregon's Alps and are the location of the Eagle Cap Wilderness Area. Established in 1940, it is the largest designated wilderness in the state of Oregon. The community of Elgin has a population of around 1,700 and is surrounded by forests and mountains, so it is not unusual to see wildlife in town. A pair of young bucks lock horns just a few feet from the depot as we prepare for this morning's train ride to Minham and back. Power for the Eagle Cap Excursion Train is a pair of ex-Santa Fe GP7s. A single unit is placed at each end since there are no turning facilities along the train's route. Under the blue hood is a classic 16-cylinder EMD 567 two-stroke diesel. This unit was built in 1954. Aside from the blue bonnet paint scheme, an engineer pointed out to us that the locomotive's Santa Fe heritage is plainly visible on its fuel gauge. Wearing a fresh coat of red paint is this unique caboose number 025 that came off the McCloud River Railroad in Northern California. It was originally built in 1905 for the Great Northern and has gone through several modifications over the past century. While the train is readied for today's journey, passengers begin arriving at the Elgin Depot. Built in 2012 for the excursion train, the building is reminiscent of the original depot which once stood here. Passenger service is nothing new to the Joseph Branch Line. Before the coming of the automobile, these rails provided the only reliable transportation between the remote community of Joseph and La Grande. Today's special is a fall colors excursion train, and many passengers have brought their cameras, something you should never be without when riding this train, no matter what time of year you go. Although there is not a bad seat in the house for this excursion, we have reserved a special front row seat just for you. We will be riding with a crew this morning and mixing in ground footage to make for a memorable trip. The locomotive we will be riding is the WURR 2083, a classic GP7 built in November of 1953 as the ATSF 2883. Engineer David Arnold is ready to go and gets word from the train's conductor over the radio.
Head into the Eagle Cap Excursion Train, over.
2083, go ahead.
Take off, over.
Here we go. Turn that down.
Besides volunteering his time in the engineer's seat, David has put a lot of hours into restoring and painting much of the equipment you see today on the railroad.
Sure.
The train departs Elgin at a slow and steady pace, giving the passengers an easy ride over the old rails and time to enjoy the scenery around them. If you were the engineer, this would be your view. Soon, the Grand Ronde River comes into view. The watercourse will lead us deep into the Wallowa Mountains and a country only visible by rail. As we enter the canyon, we come upon a flock of wild turkeys along the tracks.
Awesome. Nice. That's a perfect picture. That wrestling coach. Oh, Ron Austin. Yeah, a real sharp one. I've come 9 degrees or something. Really?
As the train enters a sharp curve, we dissolve to a line-side shot from the far side of the river. The passenger cars and baggage car came off the Idaho Northern and Pacific and have been renovated by volunteers. Each coach has a name that reflects a part of the route we are traveling over: the Minam, Grand Ronde, and Wallowa. The train glides easily along the north bank of the river, which is low this time of year. The Joseph Branch was an extension of the Oregon Railway and Navigation Company line that ran east from Portland, Oregon through La Grande. The tracks reached Elgin in 1890, but it wasn't until the Union Pacific purchased a majority stake of the ORNN that the line was extended through here. It reached Wallowa in 1908, and finally Joseph in 1927. During the Roaring '20s, the Joseph Branch had a dedicated daily passenger train. Commodities such as lumber, livestock, and grain also kept these rails polished. After World War II, the national and state system of roads increased the popularity of the automobile, which in turn had a significant effect on the branch line. The following decades saw a continued decline until 1996, when freight service to Joseph stopped altogether. The UP filed to abandon the line, and the Surface Transportation Board approved it the following year. These tracks were nearly scrapped in the early 2000s, and plans were made to begin pulling up the rails between Joseph and Elgin. Then the abandoned line had a twist of fate. The counties of Wallowa and Union decided to purchase the railroad in 2002, forming the Wallowa Union Railroad Authority. WURA crews began operating in late 2003, and the Eagle Cap Excursion Train had its first full season the following year. The train is staffed by a volunteer group known as Friends of the Joseph Branch. One of those volunteers is engineer Matt SIRRINE. Matt brings many years of experience to the Eagle Cap.
I worked for UP for 40 years and 40 days. And I did everything pretty much. I was a trainer for 11 years, a conductor for 4 years, an engineer for 25 years. And it's a good job. Always had a good time with my job. I love running their trains. And so it kind of gets in your blood. That's why I do this for free, because I like doing it. And this is a passenger train, so it's important. I have to take care of these people. Yeah. That's what I like about it.
Continuing north, Matt pilots the train over a curved bridge with an interesting name, RONDOWA. Here, the Wallowa River joins the Grand Ronde, and both flow under the bridge on their journey to the Snake River at Oregon's eastern border with Idaho. RONDOWA is often used for publicity shots of the Eagle Cap Excursion Train, and we will be stopping momentarily to capture the action. This is the 10th day of October, and Eastern Oregon has been enjoying an Indian summer. The photographers on board today's train take advantage of the good weather and lighting with a photo run by. Back on board the train, the railroad now follows the course of the Wallowa River toward today's destination of Minam. Set up along the far bank of the Wallowa, the train passes beneath the steep cliffs of the canyon, dotted with ponderosa pine and fir. A minute behind the train, a high-rail truck heads for the siding of Minam, which is just a mile or so up the river. Located 26 miles railroad north of Elgin, Minam is currently the northernmost terminus for the train, although the rails are still in place all the way to Joseph. Friends of the Joseph Branch hope to someday utilize the entire 63-mile line. In the meantime, those wishing to see the scenic northern portion of the railroad can still do so, thanks to the Joseph Branch Railriders, which offer round trips between Joseph and Enterprise, as well as Minam and Wallowa. The rail bikes are just what the name suggests, and are a fun way to tour the line with family and friends. Even though the grades are not much over 1%, you still get a good workout while enjoying the fresh air and beautiful countryside. Getting back on the train, it's time to make the return trip to Elgin. Sit back and enjoy the ride. As the train approaches Elgin, the canyon widens into an open country dotted with farms and homesteads. Elgin was originally known as Fish Trap when it was first settled by trappers and hunters in the 1880s. The town was renamed after the Lady Elgin, a steamship that tragically sank in Lake Michigan in 1860. The train arrives at the Elgin depot after completing its 52-mile round trip to Minham and back. We hope you've enjoyed your tour over this amazing line that was nearly lost to history. We applaud the hard work and dedication of the Friends of the Joseph Branch who have volunteered their time and talents to make this possible. It's a love of trains, beautiful scenery, and visiting a road less traveled that makes the Eagle Cap Excursion Train such a wonderful experience, and one we will not soon forget. For more information, visit eaglecaptrainrides.com. This program is an excerpt from Northwest Heritage Railways, which is available on DVD, high-definition Blu-ray, and digital download. If you would like to order this program, visit 7ideaproductions.com. There is a link in the description below. And to see more content like this, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to watch more videos added weekly. From all of us at 7 Idea Productions, thanks for watching.